Hey guys, it's a beautiful Monday morning, looks like. We had a lot of rain this weekend, some river flooding and whatnot, but let's go change out a heat pump. Getting everything loaded up in the van. Going to be installing a 2.5 ton American Standard. Put this one in a couple of years ago, replaced with the upstairs. Here's what we're doing today, the downstairs unit. The compressor's gone on her. Unit is in a crawl space under the house there. We'll get in there in a little bit. This shouldn't be too bad at all. All right, we'll get started. We'll start outside, get the refrigerant recovered, and then my brother-in-law's helping me today. He can come in here and start cutting this one out while I'm getting the outside unit hooked up.
You need me for a minute?
No, we can, I'll get this thing on. We can pump it down. We can go up under and start unhooking the inside of it. We ain't gonna need much out here except the solder kit right now, huh? This thing will turn itself off with this one. Yeah, we'll look to see what we got in there. We gotta take it in. I'll grab one. A lot of times I'll just close these valves and pump them down into themselves, especially on a ream. It's easy because they're normally uncooled if there's no power going to the thermostat. So you can just hold the contactor in, pump it down. But on the one I took out up there a couple of years ago, both the service valves leaked like a sieve. I don't know if they got them too hot or if it was just a coincidence that both of them didn't work. So I figured there wasn't no point in taking a chance. Just go ahead and pump it down and be done with it. I guess you just pull them. Check that again on that side of the breaker with that meter there. I checked it, but you know how that is.
I'm gonna take off some clothes.
It's warm in here.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I'm gonna take all my wires loose first. Take some shit over here. Let's just get these wires out of here.
Get the wires out first.
Yeah, they're in the way of your screws, I think.
But screwdriver's too big.
See, they had the white on the common. No, they had the white on the reversing valve. Got yellow and red tied together there. So I changed the thermostat, take a picture. The only thing that's going to be weird about this one is the reversing valve is brown or something. It came down from up upstairs because they didn't have an orange out there. They was using brown for common, so I used blue for common. Okay, we've got her pulled down into a vacuum, so I'm gonna cut the lines loose. Okay, since we're cut loose out here, I'm gonna take the cutters inside and go ahead and cut it loose in there. I always like to do it out here first, because if you did have a situation where for some reason there was a restriction, there was still something in one of those lines, you don't want it under the house with you. We're free outside. You're about free in here too, ain't you?
Yeah.
What do you need me to do?
I missed that screw right there.
You got it all now, don't you?
I don't know if we can make it that much.
Looks like there's 10 inches there.
Close one.
Like I say, we can work on this front too. Of course, there's at least 4 inches or 3 here at the flex connector.
Yeah.
That we don't have to worry about anymore.
What do you think?
Is it clamped on there? You just take the clamp loose there.
It's loose right there behind your head.
Oh, just bend it there. We'll just pull it out. We'll put a new line set on it.
What about thermostat wires?
Might as well put a new thermostat wire in. It's that outside one that's been in the sun all these years. Well, not much sun. It's in the woods, but still.
This thing here was that taper right there. I'm assuming it just come apart. I'll have to take it apart and look at it.
We'll just fix that, replace it back to wherever. Can or not, we may have to unhook that a time or two there. You know, to get it this. I'm sure it's coming from the garage, which is on the opposite end of the house. So we got some slack somewhere.
It goes through a hole. We could probably pull it back, pull it over, and back it up a bay over yonder.
That's all we need. We just need to just half that bay. If we can be on the other side of that bay, we're fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
You come through a hole coming that direction?
Yeah.
So if we pull it over to there, we'll gain 16 inches right there, and we'll be out here where we need to be.
Okay.
And we can still, if we do that, we can drop it down underneath again and come in the bottom like they do. This thing's 16.5 overall, so if we bend 2 1-inch flanges, that'll take care of it one. And then this thing's 21 overall. This thing is 19 something overall, so I'd say we let the back flap down.
Yeah. And
just bend the front flap out 1 inch. Does that sound like a plan? Okay. Hot under here, ain't it?
You got the benders?
Yeah. I got to get rid of this stuff on it though, it's still stuck to it or something. Come right off. If I can bend up to that water pipe or not. Probably can. Get close anyway. Yeah, no problem. No problem getting them off. And then the front. I have to trim that insulation off a little bit right there. It's going to be close. Maybe off up there too. There's scissors in that bucket.
Yes, it is. What I need to pull out, what is that, a staple up there?
Yeah, it's got a big staple. That's a little bitty one of them staples with a cardboard on it, like the telephone company used to use. Okay, we're going to get started by screwing the supply duct back to the new unit. And it'll just be a matter, I left it long on the back, so I'm just going to go to the back and start, get it lined up against the back and put a screw in it. And then we'll just screw these flanges to the front. And then all will be left will be a little bit of tape.
You doing fletching along the bottom?
Yeah, I got a screw hole in the middle. I may just use it. Yeah, got it made. It's nice having that patented. We'll shoot thirst T-Mire. Hello, Chuck Pierce. Hey, John. Okay, brother, I'm gonna have to let my girlfriend meet you. I'm putting that unit in you brought Thursday. So she'll meet you there, and you think you can get it that pallet jack? If not, you can use my forklift. Okay, well, I'll have her there to open the door for you. About 30 minutes away? All right, she'll see you there. Thank you. Bye.
What's it look like up your back, Chuck?
Pretty much down the edge of the pad.
It looks like the lower side is pretty even
With the top edge of the pad. We probably did something like that. You care to hold your finger over the end of the 3/8 line? Yeah, I was just seeing if it was making sure I didn't have any leaks. Okay. Yeah, I don't feel none. You want to do the big one? Would it be very hard to get to the big one? Okay. That's why I like having a helper. You can check you can pressure test as you go, kind of, sort of. Make sure you don't have any big holes anyway. Now, I used to think it was always necessary to turn these valves over when they had them upside down like this. Of course, the air handler comes shipped to lay this particular way. If you flip it, you have to change the sides with the drain pan. But all the literature they got now doesn't say anything about it, turning that over. I don't know if they've changed the tube to put it up into the middle of them or what they've done, but if you even look on Sporland's literature, of course, that is that a Sporland? Yeah, a Sporland valve. It doesn't say a thing about it. So I'm just going to leave it as is. Just put pressure on her. I asked Phil to go under there and make sure he didn't hear nothing, but so far it looks like it's holding, so I'm gonna set her on 10 minutes and see what she does. All right, had a coke break and it's passed its pressure test, so we're gonna hook up the vacuum pump. Okay, new line set, new coil. She's pulling down really quick, but what we'll do, of course, it's going to have to run for a while, but eventually I'll valve this off like that, and then that'll climb back up. And we'll make sure she stays down after it's been off for a while. But it's a short line set and a real dry system, so it's not going to take very long. While that vacuum's pulling, go ahead and finish up. Philip's about got this all together in here. We got the duct taped up. Of course, this stuff's insulated on the inside, so we don't even need any insulation out here. He's got the thermostat wired up, high voltage. We've tested the electric heat. It works good, and we let it run for a little while to burn the smell off. So he's getting the door ready to put back on here so we can run our drain. Going to put an easy trap switch on it, just in case it clogs up so it won't run over inside the air handler. And this thing is about wrapped up. Looks like she's pulling down pretty good. See how fast she climbs and where. Just turned that valve off. Looks good to me. Anywhere you want it in there. Huh? Let me turn this off. Say that again.
No, we're good. I just got to put a 90 on to push it toward the wall, just about 3 inches more.
It looks like it's coming pretty steep. If that's going to hurt you, if you could come in at the bottom instead of on top of that stuff, it would be more flat. Well, but it might not clear the heat pump.
Well, think about it. It turns 90 degrees.
Oh, so it can go any direction, can't it?
I can make it go that
okay,
way.
well that looks pretty good. It's clearing the bottom of the heat pump right now. Phil's running the drain line there. So she's climbed up to 200. It hadn't been running but maybe 10-15 minutes. So she's going to be tight. It's just a matter of, might as well just keep letting it run though. You can't get too good of a vacuum in my mind. So I'm gonna flip her back on. Open her back up. Maybe we can get down to 85 or something. We'll try. We got her below 100 anyway. Okay, been a little over 10 minutes. She's flopping around 264, so I'm gonna turn her loose and call it good. Okay, Phil is finishing up the thermostat wire outside. I've double checked everything in here. We always check each other's work when we work together. So I've got to do a knockout on that door there so we can put the lid on. And then I went ahead and drilled a couple of holes in order to check the static pressure. So I'll get this door on and maybe we can get her fired up. Philip said this was the first crawl space we ever worked in. We had to sweep when we got done. That's a pretty good place to work. Waiting on this thing to come on, I just flipped the breaker on. I turned the thermostat on when I walked upstairs, but of course it's got I think I got a 4-minute delay programmed into it when the power's off. So there's our float switch. Of course, if that picks up, it'll cut the yellow wire going out to the compressor and make it quit making water. We vented it before it ran around. It's got plenty of fall, but it's always good to put a vent on them when you can. Here's my 2 holes from my probes. When it comes on, I'll stick these probes from my manometer in there and see what the static is. I think it'll probably be pretty high, especially on that return. It's only a 14-inch return. Goes a pretty good ways back through there. It's got a 20 by 30 filter, but it's one of those allergen filters is what they use, so it's going to have a lot of restriction right there. But these are PSC motors. It don't seem to bother them much. If we got enough airflow, you can realize we don't have a lot of drops. This is pretty much the size of the downstairs of the house. The upstairs unit's actually a half a ton larger. So as quick as she comes on, we'll check this, and then I'll have to put some silicone around some holes, and we'll be done under here. Well, she just come on, and as expected, the static's a little high. You can see that 4.7, that's on the actual return, so it makes a total of 5.9. So it's still on the chart, but just barely. She won't quite get 1,000 CFM, but again, you probably don't have 1,000 CFM worth of supplies down here anyway. So she'll do a really good job of dehumidification. So I'm gonna grab that silicone and caulk up these holes. I don't hear them sucking, but it's best to go ahead and do it while you're here. And tape up those 2 test ports, and we'll be outside checking the charge. Contactor's pulled in, of course, so we'll get these gauges on it, and then we'll turn the disconnect on there and see if she runs. Let's see, I think I'll put this right here in case I want to switch her to heat. Is there anywhere to get on that? Right there, maybe. Here we go. Contact. Pumping down. Got her in AC right now. The nice thing about AC is you can unhook the reversing valve out here and switch it over into heat without having to stop it or go inside or anything. It's a little cool out here to be running AC, but TXV should be taking care of it. And yes, we put the dryer out here right beside the metering device. If it was a straight AC, I'd put the dryer inside, but since it's a heat pump, we're not close to any coastal waterways or anything where we have to worry about soft corrosion. I'd say the dryer will outlast the unit these days. You can see the suction pressure is a little low, but the TXV is handling the superheat. That's just because of the temperature out here. we turned the fan off, the head pressure would rise more like a normal warmer day, and we would expect the superheat to, you know, try to, the TXV to try to control the superheat for us. Hear the compressor start changing sound. Now it's getting a little load on it. You see the superheat dropped down to 3, but as the pressure started coming up on the high side, but now it's, you know, it's controlling it best it can. Let's cool it down a little bit here. I assume you can hear it on camera how much quieter the compressor got once it got a little head pressure against it. Of course, they're always a little noisy when you start them up for the first time. Probably been sitting there with all that refrigerant in them. And the oil probably ain't exactly where it's supposed to be once we let the refrigerant charge loose. I'm being the low ambient kit right now by turning the condenser fan on and off. This line set's about 3 foot too short. I need to recover just a little bit of this. We're supposed to be about 380 and we're at 398 and climbing. She's hanging in around 325, 330 now on heat mode. So I think that took care of the high head pressure. Flip her back to cool there. Really need to swing by here on a day when it's like 75 degrees, a day when you'd normally be using AC 75 or 80 degrees, and check it by subcooling, because you may need to adjust it a little bit. It's supposed to be 8 degrees subcooling. Plus or minus 3 degrees, I believe. Okay, got the hole caulked up where the line set comes through. Got the doors back on it. Got the little tar pads underneath the legs there. So, she matches again after a couple of years. I'll jump under the house and get you a shot of that. And then it'll be time to go get ready for tomorrow's install. We took our light out already. Hopefully you can see this good enough. Basically, we just hooked right back up to the existing ducts. The only thing missing now, there used to be a flange right here, one of the vibration flanges. Of course, these units don't vibrate enough to need anything like that. Everybody used to use them, I think, more or less just to make it easy to line them up when you was under here working, because the way that one was pushed together, it wasn't really taking any vibration out. Metal was touching between it, but she works. I'm gonna run and get some water and pour in this to make sure that drains good. We reused some of the old pipe there, so we'll make sure it isn't clogged up. It's a long way to come to blow a drain line out. Okay guys, we're back at the shop and we have another unit here arrived today while we were gone. So I just got through unboxing and reboxing this back up. I always open them up to check for damage and then check to make sure they got refrigerant in them. On the air handlers, I usually just check for damage and slide a small screwdriver in beside one of the plugs on the coil to make sure it's got some pressure on it. In both cases, this was good. We had pressure on both of them, so I'm going to unload this mess. That was in the back of the van, and then that was on the trailer strapped down for the trip home. So I'll get this unloaded, load this back up, park it in here for tomorrow morning's job. But that was a pretty easy install. The ductwork was just perfect for that new unit pretty much. Had to do very minimal changes to it. I wish all of them was that easy. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.